I see friends, teachers, students from different parts of the world. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. So as students are rolling in, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm admissions manager at Hong Kong Baptist University, and my name is Wong. So today is a very special session because I'm not going to talk about why you should study in Hong Kong. I think you should already know. Well, I'll just remind you why. But today it is really particularly designed for those who are interested in applying now or next year, and we are to better prepare you. So just to get an idea, can I have those who are graduating this year to raise your hand on the Zoom? You can choose the Zoom, like the raise hand icon. If you are graduating this year from high school, could you please raise your hand? Okay. I hope everybody has heard my question. So for those of you who are graduating next year, could you please raise your hand? Like you are planning to apply for 2024. Okay, that's great as well. So you definitely give yourself more time to prepare. That's great. All right, and I see some teachers. I won't force you to click the icon, but thank you for joining me. So let's get started. Complete guide to the HKBU admission. So as I said, I am convinced that if you are signing up for this session, you already know the perks of coming to Hong Kong and study in Hong Kong. But still, I want to remind you just a bit what we offer at Hong Kong Baptist University. Oh, sorry, before I get started, just want to share some housekeeping rules. So we will have Q&A at the end. But because this session is going to be recorded, I believe it would be best if we can go through it first. And then at the end, we can access some Q&A. And also for those of you who have started an application, I will have to ask you not to ask about your particular application. It is for your own protection. We could do a session later on. I mean, you know how to find me. If you have started an application, you probably have already get that link where you can make an appointment with me, or you can email me and we can make an arrangement, okay? It is for your own privacy concern, to protect your privacy. So, okay, let's get started. What do we offer at HKBU? Just to remind you, we are a welcoming and supportive community. You do not have to be religious to join, but if you are Christian, you are most welcome. We have a chaplain's office, we have a Christian student society, but if you are not, you're most welcome to join. We'll open our door to everybody. English is the medium of instruction. So that's why you'll be asked to provide your English proficiency proof. And we will talk about that later on, sure. We have over 40 different majors, and we cover a wide range of subjects from business to science, communication, and arts. We have opportunities for students not only in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom for research, for student exchange, for service learning, and it could be done in Hong Kong and overseas. Accommodation is available on campus, and we are building a new one. I'm very excited. The building is getting taller every day, and we are going to be able to accommodate more students on campus. Now, student visa holder, international student like you, who are applying for student visa at the end, if you're joining us, will be able to take a part-time job during the semester on campus or full-time job outside of the campus during the summer. Internship is available across discipline, and it is possible for international graduates to apply for extension of visa and stay in Hong Kong to look for jobs after graduation. So I guess these are all the reasons why you would like to join HKBU or come to Hong Kong. And now let's go into why or how you can prepare for the application. Okay. Miracle, I will first lower your hand, but feel free to type your questions in the Q&A later on, and we can do that. Okay. Now, before the application, actually, there are a lot to do before the application. First, you have to identify what programs you would like to study at HKBU, and to do so, I want to take you to the website, to our website. So let me see, how can I go to the website? There you go. And I hope that you can join me. So I'm putting the link here so that you can join me. Let's see whether we can do this in the chat for everyone. So this is our website. If you are applying, then you'll be coming to our website very often. And I will hope that you will be, studying thoroughly on our website. So when you go to our website, let's go together. When you go to our website, this is what you see. First, go down to find the programs. It's extremely important to find the right program. Okay, let's see if chat is disabled. So thank you, my colleague, for telling me that panelists can chat with everyone. So let me post it again. The link is in chat. Okay, now there are some very interesting feature of our program. Many of our programs offer broad-based admission. When I say broad-based admission, let me show you this. When I say broad-based admission, these are the faculties and schools offer broad-based admission. When I say that, it means that when you apply, you do not have to choose the major at the time of application. So for example, business, which is very common. You will apply to BBA year 1 without declaring a major, unless you want to become an accountant. Now let's go to BBA and have a look what do I mean by that. So BBA will be under School of Business, it's right here. And I will go to Bachelor of Business Administration, BBA. And then you will see all these different majors that are available under BBA. So basically you apply to BBA year 1. And in your first year, you can take subjects from different majors that is available here. And after experiencing that, after finding out what your real passion is, then you will be able to choose 1 or 2 of them as your concentration that you'll be focusing on after starting from your second year. Okay, and it means when you apply to BBA year 1. This is the program you are going to apply for, not finance, not marketing, not economics. Okay, it's BBA year 1. Something very similar to science. Let's go back to science. Okay, for science, it's under Faculty of Science. And that is why you see 1 program, Bachelor of Science here. And under Bachelor of Science, you will find everything, including computer science, applied biology, green energy and smart technology, and so on. So if you are interested in any of these majors, then you should apply for Bachelor of Science. Okay, and that is important to find out because many students would choose the wrong program, and that would be a waste of your application fee. All right, so when you apply, when you choose program, you can actually choose 2 programs. One is your first choice, and the other one is your second choice. Some programs do not consider second choice. For example, BBA, they don't consider second choice at all. So do not put them in your second choice or be ready to be rejected. Okay, there are a few, but mainly is BBA, mostly is BBA. So pay attention. How can you find out whether they accept second choice? Okay, let's go back to the website. If we look at business, if they don't accept second choice, it will be indicated at the bottom of this particular program page. School of Business will not consider second choice. Okay, so that's how you're gonna find out. All right, so that's the first thing you have to figure out what programs you would like to apply for. The second thing is to figure out how do you plan to fulfill the qualifications requirement. And there are 2 parts, the university entrance requirements and the English language requirements. Okay, so let's see how we can find out we will go back to the website. So if you go to our website, you will see immediately admissions requirement if you scroll down. Now, many students, I don't know why, stop right here and then write to me immediately. Can I apply without SAT? I guess it's a very common honest mistake when they got freaked out when they see SAM. Oh, SAT, I don't have SAT, what do I do? So in fact, we accept a wide range of qualifications. These are the international curricula. This is the first page, which is about American pattern education. Then we have Australian, British, Canadian, and so on. So these are the international one. But then we also have a long list of regional or national curricula that we accept. So for example, India, let's go to I, India, we accept the standard 12 exam result awarded by all this council, which covers almost all, if not all, most local Indian students. Okay, so do not just jump into conclusion and say, oh, I don't have SAT, I don't have all this international qualification, I'm done. Don't jump into conclusion. Go to the list and make sure you go over the list and see if you are, you will find, if you find the country. Okay, for those of you who come later, just want to remind the audience that this is going to be a very detailed presentation. If you have questions, please make use of the Q&A and we will take care of the questions later on. But because this session is recorded, so I want to go through everything first. And maybe you will get the answer later on in the later part of my presentation, okay? All right, so these are the university entrance requirements. These are the qualifications that you could use to fulfill the university entrance requirement. How about languages? English language. So there is this tab for English language. And again, you will see a long list, not just TOEFL, IELTS, SAT, whatnot. You also find Australia, Cameroon, Canada, China, and so on. Okay, so go through the list and see if you already have what is listed here. If you don't, then it might mean that you have to take an IELTS or TOEFL test. Okay, that would be key. So do try to check out how do you meet the requirement first. Okay, and then what is next? Let's see. How about, okay, you choose the programs, you find out how do you fulfill the qualifications. So what next? The very anxious question, required documents, right? Okay, I understand that. So I have a special slide. If you have not graduated from high school, if you are a final year high school student, which means you are either you just graduated this year in March, for example, or you're going to graduate in June, or you are going to take IB, or taking IB, or just finish IB exam, or going to take GCE and waiting for the result, you are the final year high school students, okay? So the two first most important one, the compulsory documents is passport copy. I don't know why, like many students skip that part. But if you are going to study abroad, you need a passport. If when you apply, if you don't have a passport, you can try to apply with your national ID first. But at the end of the day, you need a passport. So without a passport, you cannot submit the application. So you need a passport. If your passport has expired, then use your old passport to apply first. And let us know when do you expect to receive your new passport. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is your latest transcript. So if you're a final year high school student, you should have your grade 12 term 1 exam result, or for some country term 2 as well, but you won't have the final one. It's fine. Just send us the latest transcript, which is issued by your school, by the way, not something that you write down on a piece of paper or just print it out, okay? So it should be issued by your school. If you are studying IB or GCE, or for some countries like Kazakhstan or KG, sometimes your school will give predicted grades on your public exam or final exam. So if you have that, for IB student, it's a must. For other students, please provide if it's available. Okay. And the fourth one will be the English test result. Now, if you have already taken the test result and it fulfill our condition, then please do upload that. If you plan to take the test and it's going to happen soon, then just put down the test date. I will show you how later on. But if you have taken a test 5 years ago and it has expired, then you will have to take this test again. There is no excuse. Okay, we do not accept expired result. Okay, so if you don't have it when you apply, it's fine. But you will let us know when do you when you are going to ready to submit that. And in fact, the deadline to fulfill the condition for most students, except for the GC student, will be mid-July. So you will have to be able to provide your English test result before mid-July. Now it comes to number 5, 6, and 7. Personal statement is optional. It's not required. If you have a story to tell, you are strongly recommend to share that with us. Absolutely. But if you have nothing to tell, please don't force yourself into writing something that you don't mean it. Because first, it's waste of time. Secondly, I don't think it will be good. And you know what? At the interview, the professors will ask you about it, and you'll be sorry if you don't really mean what you said. So I would say if you have something to tell, yes, please go ahead. And also, there are so many students who have done that before, like they write one personal statement and send it to all school, but forget to change the name of the school. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, do it if you mean it, and then if you have a story to tell, that will help the professor to get, to understand where you're coming from. That's great. But if it's not, that's fine. It's optional. It's not compulsory. Same for recommendation. If your teachers have something great to say that they want to tell us about you, it's great. But if they don't have any, don't ask just anyone to write a recommendation letter. I think we have received, like I have received in my career, that recommendation from an aunt or like table tennis coach, but did not say anything other than, oh, this student come to practice every day. But it did not say much about, what does it mean to, have that recommendation. So only if you have something you really want to present and you believe that would be working towards your application as an advantage, then please go ahead. All right. And the last thing, any other supporting documents. So students are always stressed, like, oh, what should I present? Like, should I send you all the certificate of participation of any events that I take part in? Now, my suggestion is participation is the minimal, like it make the minimal impact. Other than reading the title of the event, we don't get much from that. And then there is achievement. So maybe, for example, you take part in a competition and you win like first runner up. That's fine. That's great. That looks great. But it's still actually, if you ask me, it doesn't say much. So the highest impact, the biggest impact you can make is to elaborate your experience. And you may try to do that in the format of a resume or CV. So basically, it's like a list of things that you have done, like a track record, and you can elaborate on that. But this is completely optional. It's just that if you have something you really want to share, I think that is a good format because it helps us to see when did you do what, and then it makes sense when we read the certificate. But if you don't have anything particular to share, that's fine. It's also optional. Okay. Now, wherever you provide any documents, if they are not written in English, then please provide translation. If you can get notarized translation, and in some countries it's very easy and cheap, then do so. But if it's extremely difficult to get or very expensive to get, try to ask your teacher for help. See if they can, for example, if it's a transcript, then your school probably have like an English translation for you. But if not, then seek their advice. Should you go to the lottery? Should you go, or you can have it translated and then have your teacher check on it and a school stamp on it as a verification. So at the stage of application, we are pretty flexible. We are very rigid, like we are very serious about the documents, but we also do not want you to, pay too much money on some documents that you might not need to translate at the beginning of the application process. For example, a certificate of participation in a local singing competition. That might not be something you want to spend $200 on translation. So, make your judgment, ask your teacher for advice, and also only include documents that will be of an advantage to your application. Don't just include just anything. It wouldn't help, okay? So this is the one for final year high school students. This is the one for high school graduates. So if you have graduated last year, for example, or if you have graduated before last year, and you have might also have taken like post-secondary education, then this will be, you'll be in that category. Now, again, passport copy is a must. Latest transcript, your last transcript, and that should be the one when you receive from like the official transcript, okay, that you receive from your school. Then you should have your high school graduation diploma. And understand that for some country or some schools, it might be like a challenge. And if that is the case, then please ask your teacher to inform us like when we can expect that, or if that is the norm for your country or your school. And then you should have your exam results, whether be it like IB, SAT, or GCE, or your national exam, then you should already have the final result. Then please include that. If you have studied at any post-secondary institution and you have mentioned that, and you should mention that in your application, then please also provide the latest transcript that you get from them. Again, for English test result, if you have them, submit them. If you don't have them yet, indicate the test date, and that will work as well. And same for personal statement, recommendation, and any other supporting documents. And again, if they are not in English, then please provide an English translation. Otherwise, no one can understand that. It will not work towards your application. It will not be supporting your application. Okay. My suggestion is get everything ready, especially if you're not graduating, if you're not applying for this year, you're applying for next year, you have all this time to get this ready. And I will do something more for those who are applying next year. I want to do tips and tricks on how you can prepare individual documents. Okay. But today we have to go through the whole process first. Now, after you choose the right program, know how you fulfill the requirements and get all the required documents ready, you can go and start the application finally. So I will do, I am going to do the application with you. I have started an account this afternoon, so I will do that with you. So first, you will have to go here to start an account, to open an account. And that's the first thing. Actually, that's the first thing that you should be careful with. Think about which email address you want to use for the application. Some students use their high school email address, which is great in many ways, but once they graduate, some schools stop, letting them access, the email address. So the students do not get any emails from us after they graduate from high school. And that could be December, that could be March or June. But then during all this time, you need to receive information from us. So if you're not sure, ask your school first. How long can you access your high school email address if you plan to use that for your application? That's one thing. Second thing, please use the email address that you actually check. I have students who use an email address that they never checked. And they will come back to us like a few weeks later and then say, oh, I never get this email because I don't really check this email account. And I'm like, oh. And I have also met students who use someone else's email account, like my brother's email account, because I didn't have an email account when I applied for the university. In that case, I suggest you to open one because you need your own email account. This is very important. And when we are on this topic, may I give you a small tips? If you are opening an email account, don't use something silly in that email address. And also, you can write down your alias, like what to show in the email. Please choose your word very carefully. I would say your name would be best, but some student would say something else. And sometimes it could be even offensive. And I'm like, man, maybe this is not really, you know, the smartest choice of word, you know, and not in this occasion. So choose your email address very carefully. Now, after you open an account, activate the account, and then you will come to this point. So choose government funded programs because this is what you're applying for. We are government funded, and that is why it's affordable. Go for that, and then you will log in. Logged in. Oops, did I do something wrong? Logged in. Okay, logging in. There you can choose study year. To start with, the first answer, the first thing you have to answer is study year. So if you are only a high school graduate, or if you are, you know, you just graduated from high school last year, or if you plan to study year one, then go and choose apply for year one here and click save, okay? And then there is the full program titles. Please study this first. If you say want to study BBA, there is BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration. This is the code you should look for later on. So if I were you, I will put it here for, you know, on the notepad first. Okay, what's our second choice? Our second choice is visual arts. I love visual arts. Let's put it here. And visual arts also accept second choice. So I'll put it here. Okay, these are the two. And then we will have to move. Where is it? Okay. Program study year. We did that. Okay, let's choose study program. Oh, I already choose something before that. I will edit that because we have decided to choose an option should be selected, right? And options should be selected. So I want to do BBA. So I look for BBA and save. And I want to add a second choice. So my second choice is visual arts. I will look for visual arts and I will save. So I have two program choice for now. Okay, next, I'll start filling in the form. Now, this form is actually very straightforward, but for some reason, well, not for some reason, you're young, you are only 70, how many forms have you filled? So let's just quickly go through that. Surname is your family name. So in my case, it's Wong. Given name is the name, your first name, and it should be the same as your passport. It should not be anything else. Now, for some country, it's very common to have the middle name, which is not included in your passport. So don't include that if it's not on your passport. Okay, make sure that matches with your passport. That's very important. So I will put it down here. Chinese name. Now, I appreciate that some students will actually make up a Chinese name for us. And I can tell immediately because I'm a translation major. No, because it's just too obvious, you know, it's from Google Translate and whatnot. Again, if it's not shown on your passport, don't put it there. Okay, just skip that. Okay, I appreciate that you have that for yourself. And I would love to hear that from you when we meet, but don't put that on your application, all right? Are you a local student? No, of course not. You are an international student. That's why we're talking. So you can find your country here. And I will just randomly choose a country that I really like. At the moment, what is that? Mexico. I've been watching a TV program about Mexico. So Mexico. Passport number, that should be the same as what you are, you know, providing. But if you don't have a passport yet, you can put down a dummy number first and make it very dummy. You see, I write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that it's a fake one. Don't make it look too real. Otherwise, we thought that this is the real one. Okay. And then your date of birth. And my favorite date of birth is the handover day. So I will always choose that one for Hong Kong. Oh, I'm 26 already. All right. So gender and then your address. Now for your address, please put down like a detailed one, number, street names, and it should be the city name as well. If you put just like, sometimes it's just so simple. I don't know how to find you in such a big country. Okay. And then phone number. Now phone number, I understand that many of you do not have home number. And then some of the students will put their parents' mobile number there. which is fine. We can understand. For the mobile number, if you don't have it, then use your parents' number, that's fine. But I suggest that you put down your number because we will really call you for emergency. So put down a valid number. We did have like students who put down a random number and we couldn't find them, okay? Are you a Chinese speaking applicant? Now, again, if you have studied Chinese for like the language exam or at school for years, then you may, or if you speak Chinese at home, you're sort of fluent, then go ahead. But if you have just taken like one course, or if you are really into Chinese pop culture, Chinese TV, drama, and like singer, then you might not want to choose yes here, okay? And then choose whether you have disability. Whether you're applying by qualification outside Hong Kong is almost definitely yes, because you're not taking the Hong Kong local qualification. And then this question sometimes tricks students. Country of the qualification obtained. Now, if you are studying GCE in Pakistan, then where you obtain this is Pakistan, okay? Oh, I'm a Mexican, so it should be Mexico. But it should not be UK, because we are talking about where you obtain that qualification, not where that qualification oriented from. So for me, it would be Mexico, okay? So I save that. Oh, it's missing, yeah, it wouldn't let me go. So I will put down this, and then I will move on to next. So highest qualification is the qualification you would like to use to fulfill the university entrance requirement. Okay, I am a GCE A-level student, so I would go to GCE. But if I have also taken SAT and I score very high, like 15, 70, I would like to use SAT to fulfill the requirement, I can choose SAT. Okay, if I'm an Indian student, I am taking CBSE, then I would choose other regional national curriculum. Is that clear? Okay, let's try that. If I am an IB student, but I also take SAT, but I score higher in SAT and I already have the SAT score, then I can choose SAT as well. Okay, if I'm an IB student, but I did not take SAT, do not plan to do that, and I choose IB. Okay, so that's the part where you tell us how do you want to fulfill the university entrance requirement. So I will be an A-level student. Next, exit with the, I should say first, very safe system. This is a very safe system. Okay, next. Okay, years of schooling. Now, again, this is very confused for many students. Primary, I think that's fine. Primary, we all know what it was like, when you were still, playing your fingers with your neighbors, that's, primary. But secondary and post-secondary sometimes confuse the student. Now, let me say once and for all, if you graduate from high school this year or going to graduate, if you just graduate last year, or you just graduated from high school this year, or you will be graduating this year, then everything you have done in this secondary school, in this high school, is your secondary education. Your upper secondary education is not post-secondary education. Okay. Anything happen after your high school graduation is post-secondary. So up to now, that should be like your secondary education. And in most cases, it's 6 years. In most of the country, it's 6 years. If you write anything here, it would mean that you have done something after graduation. Well, because I'm 26, I probably have done maybe 2 years of study, and it's part-time, but no, let me full-time, and I will put that in. But for normal high school student, you should not have that. Okay, it should be just 6 or 5, like in Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan is 11 years, and just 5. Okay, so I'll save that, and then I'll go next, and then I actually have to provide information about where I have studied. Now, I'm from Mexico, so it should be somewhere in Mexico, and you can type the name of your school here. You don't have to choose anything. You can just click here and then you can type. Please write the correct name. Please make sure that it's correct. For some reason, the spelling of your name, your school name is, very tricky for many. And then level attending. If you are in grade 12, then go ahead, grade 12, final year, whatnot. And the year, I will just choose random thing. I cannot do the calculation right now. And what exam have I done? Okay, GCE, I'm going to finish at GCE. So I would choose GCE, okay? Or if I don't find it, I can type it. I can always type it, other test here, okay? Just click on it. Then I will save again and click next. Now you can see I have already added what I've done. If you have changed school, if you have studied in more than one secondary school, then add. Okay, just add. Make sure that it shows your secondary education, you know, all the school. When we do the calculation, we should see like 6 or 5 years here. Okay, and next, post-secondary. So I have choose something, so I should probably put that down. And I would have finished that, so I would put pass. But then if you are still studying in the post-secondary institution, you should choose current, okay? And again, I don't find anything here, so I will click on this, and then I will type Mexico Institute. And I will fill in everything I need. I have not graduated. I have graduated because it's a past thing. So I will also put down randomly something. It would be a postgraduate certificate, full-time. How many years? What's the title? So I don't have that much time here. So I will just randomly put down something. Now, if you have really studied in the post-secondary institution, you will have to put down the GPA here if you have it. If you don't have it, please enter 0 if you don't have it. So I'll put 0 here. Now save. Oh, and then I will press next. Other academic professional qualifications? No. Probably no. Because it's also for like social work students. And I mean, our social work students, they are mostly current social worker. They are like adults. That's what they are for. Most of the qualifications you obtain in high school, they are not considered academic or professional qualifications. But if you have doubt, you can always check with us. Okay, so next, exam. So HKCE, okay, if you click next, you will be confused because it goes directly to HKCE exam. And you go, what is that? Well, it's under exam results. So for me, I'm a GCE student, so I will choose GCE. And there I will find something that looks familiar to me. Now, I am going to take A-level exam, or I have, and that should be some time ago. And I will choose the subject that I have taken. So I will take time to choose that one by one. Next or save. And then I will choose that one by one, adding all the subjects that I've taken. That is the case if I have already taken the exam, then I will have the grade. But if you don't have the grade yet, you have not, you're going to sit for the exam next month, then you can just leave out the grade as is written here, leave the field grade blank. Okay, so this is for GCE. You will also find SAT if you have that, or you have IB, or English test result. If you have taken any like TOEFL, IELTS, and you can put down your exam result here. And let's move on to additional information. Now, if you have any work experience that you think is worth mentioning, then you would like to put it here. But please consider whether it's worth it, because I mean, your work experience in a fast food shop, how does that, related to your application? Is that worth mentioning? So, and then if you would like to provide, information about your work experience, be ready to provide documents that support that. Okay. Personal statement. Personal statement is optional, as I mentioned, but if you want to do that, you might as well input that. Or you can leave it, you don't have to type it here. You can just upload it as a separate additional documents under supporting documents. Okay, you don't have to, it's not a must to type it here. Referee information. Now, this is interesting. Now, if you have convinced any teachers to be your referee, and they said, okay, you can provide my information, then you might put down the information here, and after you submit your application, they will receive an invitation to submit their recommendation. And you will not be able to read that, only we can read that. But if they already give you a recommendation letter, then there's no point of, you don't have to put down that information here because they will be invited again. Then the teacher will be confused. Why do you ask me again? We have already given you the letter. So choose whether you want to just upload that or you want us to invite them to input that. Maybe you should check with the teacher which one they are more comfortable with. That would be the best things to do. Now it comes to the last part, which is to upload supporting documents. If this part here should be should respond to what you have input early on. So as I wrote early on, GCE level 2020, that's why there is a slot here for me to upload my GCE result. So what you have filled in will be reflected here. But if you could not find, the right slot, then just upload everything under others. Okay, there's no need to freak out and say, oh, I cannot find it. Where is it? Where is the slot for like can competition and stuff like that? Don't worry, just upload that under others. Okay, and when you're ready, then you can go and submit. Do read all this. Declaration is extremely important. One of the very, very important thing is it has to be true. Everything you submit has to be true and accurate. Secondly, we might contact your school in case of doubt about your documents. That is also something that we mentioned. So read everything before you submit, and then if you're ready, go ahead and settle the payment by either Visa card, MasterCard, WeChat Pay, or Union Pay. Unfortunately, we do not accept other kind of payment at the moment. If you have like problem settling the payment, try to seek help from your school. And usually, sometimes, students will be able to find maybe a family, friends, or someone even in Hong Kong to do that. So that could be done and submitted. And that will be it. So let's go back to the presentation. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so these are all the things we have covered. Can you believe it? We have covered everything. You have complete your application. So what happened next? Oh, wait, before that, I have some tips. I forgot. First, no separate application for scholarship. So you don't have to worry about it. Yes, there is no application for scholarship. Everybody is being considered automatically if they are competitive. So don't worry about it. Second point, proofread. Please. I have students who type their name wrong, their school name wrong, wrong subject name, everything could be wrong. So double check everything. And also do not use abbreviation if you are not sure if whether we can understand that. I mean, GCE we can understand, IB we can understand, but competition GCL in your region, in your country, that may not be known to us. If you don't explain that, it might only mean that we can't understand how important it is for us to know how great you are. So try to avoid abbreviation. Also for your school name, some students would just roll ABHS, and I'm like, please write down the full name. So do that, okay? Now, one thing you must be very careful is that program choice cannot be changed after submission. So remember, I chose BBA as my first choice, visual arts as my second choice. If I submitted my application, I can't come back and say, oh, actually, I want to do visual arts, not BBA. It can't be changed. So be very, very careful, especially when I mentioned earlier that you only get some programs do not accept second choice. If you submit the application, for example, choosing BBA as your second choice, you only waste a choice. So be very careful before you submit, okay? But the good news is, after submission, you can add documents. So you can continue to upload documents. Our suggestion is for you to inform us wherever you add anything, because that way we can alert the faculty, because they might already be drawing conclusion, or they have already interviewed you and they are not looking at your application again because they have everything. They thought they have everything. So I would not, I would suggest that if you add anything, please do let us know. Okay. And also any additional documents should be submitted like within a week or maximum 2 weeks after you submit the application. Otherwise, you might have already been interviewed and they are drawing the conclusion, the result already. So anything that comes too late, it might already be too late. Okay. Now, after you submit an application, Yes, you submit an application. So what happened? A complete application will be reviewed. So what do you mean by complete? It means that you submit all the required documents. If you don't, then we will come to you. We will email you and ask you for additional documents. Or if you are unclear about your application, maybe you skip something, we will also email you. So it's very important for you to check email frequently. And those who got, who have their application complete, we will review them. If we find them suitable, eligible, we'll pass it to the faculty for them to review. And they will choose shortlisted students for interview. So interview is always to be done online. It's invited by the faculty themselves. So again, check your email and respond timely. If you check the email like 5 weeks later, then and you say, oh, actually I want to join this interview, it doesn't work that way. So, and not all the faculty will give you a second chance unless you have a very valid reason. But if you have a valid reason, do tell the faculty immediately. For example, there's a power shortage in your area, or you were sick, or something happened in the family, then write to us and explain your situation. Let them decide. Not, don't just say, oh, there is no hope. Don't do that. Okay. And this is I see the importance of proofread. And there is ED missing. You see how important it is to have proofread. Let's do that. Okay. Now, shortlisted student will be interviewed. And after the interview, the faculty will prepare a result. For those who are successful, they will receive an offer by email. It will come by email. First, a very official notification, and then secondly, a very happy congratulations from us, from someone like me or my colleague Cheryl or my colleague Jessie. Those who have worked with us, you will know we start talking to any applicants once you start an application. So we are always here. We will also highlight how you can accept the offer by settling the payment of admission confirmation fee, which will be 10,000 Hong Kong. And if you accept that offer, pay this fee, coming to us successfully enrolled, that 10,000 will be deducted from the tuition. All right. And that has to be done before the offer deadline. Usually it will be 2 weeks. But because we are running towards the end of the recruitment cycle, and then we need time for the student to prepare for their student visa, that could be shortened to 10 days in June, just to give you a heads up, because it takes time for students to get a student visa, and we don't want you to be late for school. All right. Now, after you accept an offer, pay the tuition, all that, we will start helping you with the visa. We will give you detailed instruction. We will teach you how to do it, and we will also help you to complete that and submit that to the immigration as your sponsor. And you have to join the rest of us in the events that are designed for freshmen. So we have been doing quite a few online events. We have talked about transition. We are going to talk about managing finance tomorrow, and we are going to organize some meeting for students with faculty next month. So that would be all the things that help you to get ready for your journey at HKBU. And now it comes to Q&A. I see there are some questions already here. So first, IELTS expired. I have answered that. You will have to take it again. Answer live done. A non-local student at one. Okay, we have a non-local student at one of the university in Hong Kong, but I would like to apply for HKBU for first year. So in that case, you should submit your high school graduation diploma, official transcript, and also your latest transcript in the university you are currently studying, whether in Hong Kong or not. Okay. And then there is the question if we should include in personal statement anything about scholarship, how we will benefit from it. That's a good question. So first, admission scholarship, the university admission scholarship is primarily designed for year 1 students. So if you are applying for year 3, that's probably not for you, just to begin with. Secondly, our admission scholarship is merit-based. So if you are applying for if you would like to be considered for admission scholarship, my suggestion is, yes, you may want to mention that in your personal statement, but I would not you do that in the approach saying that I need the money. I'll probably, well, let's put it this way. I have read some really good statements from students who are financially challenged. Then they explain their situation and, you know, the challenges they have and how they overcome that. Despite all these challenges, I'm doing so great in my academic at school, you know, be a leader and so on. So focus on your strength instead of your need. That would be my suggestion. If you are, you know, you would like to mention your, you know, your need for scholarship or your hope to get scholarship. And then another question, I'm applying for a program that requires a portfolio. What is the deadline for the portfolio submission? Great question. Now, some of the program like visual arts or BBA in global entertainment, they ask for portfolio, and you will receive information about how you will have to submit your portfolio. You don't upload your portfolio in your application. After you submit your application, you will receive detailed instruction on how and where you upload the portfolio. So wait for that, and you will also find out the deadline. But usually it's around like a week or 10 days or 2 weeks. Again, we are running towards the end of the cycle, so that might be shortened. And also for some programs, they also list out, you know, the details. So for visual arts, go to the visual arts website or write to us and then find out more in that particular year, because again, it changes every year. We have portfolio guidelines, but they are updated every year. So do try to get the most updated information. When application will start for 2024? Now, this is a very good question. We are hoping to open early, but typically, well, to make it safe, you can definitely apply in October. We are looking at the possibility that, you know, allows them to apply early, because if you apply early and then you can take it away from you. I mean, you can take it away from the to-do list, just, you know, get over with it. And this is a simple application compared to other systems. So we want to, you know, help you with that too. So now you're on our list. We will keep you posted when we have the application timeline announced and finalized. Wisdom, great question. Information about choices. There was some specific program, like it can't be second choice. Yes. I'm not sure if you were here earlier, you might have missed that part, but let's go back because it's important. So it will always show whether the program accepts second choice. So for example, BBA, let's go back to business. You go to BBA, and if you scroll to the bottom, in the remarks, it will show whether they consider second choice. So there are a handful of programs that do not consider second choice, and we update with the faculty every year. So I don't want you to memorize anything. Okay. For the students, check it in that particular year when you plan to apply. Okay, because that could change. This year they don't accept, maybe next year they do, or this year they don't, they will accept next year. We don't know. So check that later on. Okay. Okay, this one we have answered. When will students be informed about their scholarship status? Good question. Same time when they get an offer. If you get an offer and you find no information about scholarship, it means that it's a fee-paying offer with no scholarship. If you receive a scholarship, we will say congratulations, you have been admitted to this program with what scholarship. It will be said right out loud, like we will announce it out loud. Okay, and you will find out at the same time. Okay, so okay, watch the recording later. Right, so there will be recording. I will send it to those of you who have registered. Okay, and let's see, do we have any other question? One more question. What if a student has paid admission fee but then does not meet the entry requirement? Great question again. So it happens sometimes. So, okay, if you apply before you get the final exam result and your application is successful, that it will mean that you will receive a conditional offer, meaning it's an offer with the condition, for example, GCE A-level student. This is an offer on the condition that you will get grade E in 3 A-level subjects, for example, that. And if at the end you do not get grade E in 3 A-level subjects, first, why? I mean, is there a particular reason? For example, the exam just got canceled in Pakistan last week. Is that because of that you were expect to score higher? Is there a particular situation, or you also have doubt about the result, you want to go and appeal for that? Is that what you plan to do? I have seen, especially in the past 2 years, during the pandemic, teachers will write to us and say, we don't know how it would happen because it's not possible. We are checking the paper and all that. So if you have doubt, or like it came in a surprise and it's a situation where your teacher also have question about, then you might want to reach out to us first. But if it's really something like, oh, I did not study for 3 months, so that's why I got 3F, then if they don't meet the condition, the student don't get the commission, they don't meet the condition, they could actually get the deposit back that would be refunded. If they meet the condition but decided not to come, then the deposit is not refundable. So changing minds is not refundable. But if they do not meet the conditions, the offer conditions, then they will receive a refund of the deposit. Same for those who do not get a visa, like their visa application do not get approved by the Hong Kong immigration, then we will refund their deposit. Okay. Questions. I graduated from high school in 2021. I'd like to apply for 2024. I don't have any post-secondary qualification. That is completely fine. It's not required. I'm just saying if you have any, then you should fill that in. If you don't, then just leave it blank. But you probably have to explain, and that also works for those who had taken gap year. You might wish to explain what you have done, like what happened in that 1 or 2 years. Were you idle at home, or were you working? Then you may want to explain your case. And in that situation, I encourage you to write, maybe not a personal, well, it's some sort of personal statement as well, but try to explain what happened. Or again, use the format of CV or resume. So you list out what you have done, your education, and what you have done in that past 2 years. That would work too. Just to give us an idea of what had happened. Okay. If you have further question, yes, contact us. So this is our email address. Contact us. And we read the email quite often. So, but my suggestion is really go to our website and study thoroughly, not just scroll down things. Because in many cases, I have students sending me urgent emails saying, urgent question, do I need an IELTS? And I'm like, I would love to answer your question, no problem. But you were the one who sleep on it, like so anxiously last night. You could have found that answer like right away, and you know put yourself at ease. So go to our website first. That's my suggestion. But write to us if you can't find out the answer. And then another question. If you are currently studying in other university in Hong Kong and applying to for HKBU for your first year, are you going to be considered for scholarship? It depends. Now, okay, let's talk about the scholarship. It's merit-based, and it's subject to competition and availability. And not only we will look at your score, but we'll also look at your non-academic performance, your personal attributes, and your interview performance. So it's a very holistic approach. It also applies to our admission. So I guess the question is not whether you are, studying in another Hong Kong university, but my immediate, my heart, it's just thinking out loud. Just a first thing that come to my mind would be like, maybe I might want to know, like, why would you want to change? And you might have to explain your experience, and that will be part of your interview, and that could affect the result at the end. Okay, what should we do if realize we make mistake after submitting the application? Okay, if it is typo, then I think you have to let it go. If it's a document that you have submitted that is something wrong, like you uploaded your brother's photo, for example, it's not your photo, then you should let us know, and then you should send us the correct documents. As I said, if it's a program choice, then you can't change it. So my suggestion is try not to make mistake before you check everything before you submit your application, because it's important. It really says everything about you. So even if you ask to change stuff, it doesn't leave a good impression. So you probably don't want to do that. Okay. another question, can I send English test, IELTS, TOEFL result after submitting the application? Yes. Yes. But for this year, for example, mid-July will be like the latest. Like you will have to submit that to us before mid of July, because that's how, that's the deadline for meeting condition. Other than GCE students will not get their result until August, but for all other students, they will have to fulfill the condition in around mid-June, mid-July. Okay. Lots of questions. I'm happy. I hope I do help you with, preparing for your application. And seriously, I really want to do like a tips and tricks for the juniors, and that will applies to all applications, not just this. For example, how to present yourself or how to prepare for interview. I've done that before. I find students, really, it really helps the student in preparing for the interview and application. So I'll try to do that sometimes in maybe July or August or September. But for now, I think we are good. And I will call this the end of the presentation. Thank you again, everybody. You've been great. The whole crowd has stayed with me almost, the entire session. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, just email us. And for those of you who have registered, we will send you the recording. All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye.